Park Jisoo stood in the center of the Galactic Council chamber and tried not to show her nervousness. The room was enormous. Bigger than any stadium on Earth. Hundreds of alien species sat in curved rows that rose up toward a ceiling so high she could barely see it. Some of the aliens were small, no bigger than cats. Others were massive creatures with 6 legs and armor-like skin. All of them were watching her. She was Earth's first ambassador to the Galactic Council. It was the most important job any human had ever been given. Today was supposed to be simple. She just needed to present Earth's formal request to join the Council as a full member. She had practiced her speech 100 times. Kim Do-hyun stood behind her, holding a data tablet. He was Earth's chief linguistic analyst, which meant he studied alien languages and helped translate when the machines couldn't get the meaning right. He was calm and quiet, the perfect person to have at her side during something like this. "Ambassador Park," said Counselor Veth from his raised platform. He was a Miran, a species with gray skin that changed color based on their emotions. Right now, his skin was a neutral blue-gray. "We have reviewed Earth's application. Your species has met all requirements for membership consideration." Jisoo let out a small breath of relief. "Thank you, Counselor. Earth is honored to be considered. However," Veth continued, "before we proceed, we require one final piece of information for our records." Jisoo nodded. "Of course. What do you need?" "We need Earth's true name." Jisoo blinked. She glanced back at Do-hyun, who looked equally confused. "I'm sorry, Counselor. I don't understand. Earth is our planet's name. We call it Earth." Veth made a gesture that his species used to show patience. "I understand that is what your people call your world now. But we need the true name. The designation that exists in the Universal Archive." Do-hyun stepped forward. "Counselor, please excuse our confusion. We are not familiar with this Universal Archive. Could you explain?" A murmur went through the chamber. Several aliens leaned forward in their seats. Veth's skin flickered to a slightly lighter shade. "The Universal Archive," Veth said slowly, "is the oldest record in the galaxy. It was created over 2 million years ago by a species that no longer exists. It contains information about every planet, every star, every species that has ever been known. When a civilization becomes advanced enough to travel between stars, their world's true name is already in the archive, waiting for them." Jisoo felt a strange chill. "And Earth is in this archive?" "Every inhabited world is in the archive, Ambassador. The true name is not what you call your planet. It is what the universe has always called it." Do-hyun typed quickly on his tablet. "We simply call our world Earth. The word comes from old languages on our planet. It means soil, or ground, the dirt beneath our feet." Veth nodded. "Please provide the exact term. Our translation systems will cross-reference it with the archive." Do-hyun looked at Jisoo. She nodded. He spoke clearly into the chamber's recording system, giving the word in several old Earth languages. The translation matrix hummed as it processed the information. Then the results appeared on the main display screen. The chamber went completely silent. Jisoo looked around, confused. Every alien in the room had gone still. She saw creatures with 4 eyes blink, all of them at once. She saw beings with no visible face turn away from the screen. She saw Counselor Veth's skin shift from blue-gray to pale white. "Counselor?" Jisoo asked. Veth didn't answer. His hands were shaking. He pressed a button on his console, and suddenly, alarms began to ring throughout the chamber. "This session is suspended," Veth announced. His voice was not steady. "What is happening?" Jisoo demanded. "Counselor Veth, please explain." Guards appeared from doorways around the chamber. They were not pointing weapons at the humans, but they surrounded them quickly. An officer with scales and a military uniform gestured for Jisoo and Do-hyun to follow. "You must come with us," the officer said. "We have done nothing wrong," Jisoo said firmly. "We demand to know what is happening. Please, Ambassador." The officer's voice was strained. "Just come with us. Now." Do-hyun put his hand on Jisoo's arm. "We should go," he said quietly. "Something is very wrong. We need information before we act." Jisoo wanted to argue, but she knew he was right. She nodded and followed the guards. They were taken to a small room with no windows. The walls were bare metal. There were chairs and a table, but nothing else. It looked like the kind of room used for questioning prisoners. "Wait here," the guard said, and left. The door locked behind him. Jisoo and Do-hyun stood in silence for a moment. "What just happened?" Jisoo asked. Do-hyun shook his head. "I don't know. But did you see their reactions? They were not angry. They were afraid. Every species in that chamber was terrified. Of what? We gave them a word. A name for dirt. The translation matrix connected it to the archive," Do-hyun said. "Whatever Earth's true name is in that archive, it scared them. All of them. They could hear sounds through the walls. Alarms, running footsteps. Voices shouting in languages the translation devices in their ears couldn't fully process. Words like danger and protocol and containment." Jisoo sat down heavily in one of the chairs. She had trained for years for this job. She had prepared for difficult negotiations, for cultural misunderstandings, for political challenges. She had not prepared for the entire Galactic Council to panic because of her planet's name. "We need to contact Earth," she said. "Command needs to know about this." "Our communication devices are not working," Do-hyun said, checking his tablet. "I think they're jamming our signals." The door opened. Counselor Veth entered. His skin was still pale, but he had managed to stop shaking. Behind him came two guards, both heavily armed. Jisoo stood up. "Counselor, you owe us an explanation. We came here in good faith, and you have locked us in a cell like criminals." Veth looked at her. His eyes were large and dark, and in that moment, they held an emotion Jisoo recognized from any species. Deep, genuine fear. "Ambassador Park," he said quietly, "I must ask you a question, and you must answer honestly. Everything depends on your answer. Ask." Veth took a breath. "How long have your people been on that world? How long have humans lived on Earth? If a weather, and if a weather, a weather." Jisoo frowned. "Our species evolved there. We have always lived there. At least 300,000 years, maybe longer." Veth closed his eyes. The guards behind him shifted nervously. "What is this about?" Jisoo demanded. "What does the archive say about Earth?" Veth opened his eyes. When he spoke, his voice was barely above a whisper. "The archive says that your world is where empires go to die. 17 civilizations have tried to claim it. All 17 were destroyed. Not defeated, Ambassador. Destroyed. Completely. And your people live there. You evolved there. You survived." He took a step back, as if standing too close to her was dangerous. "The question the Council is asking now," he said, "is what kind of species crawls out of a grave?" Jisoo stared at Counselor Veth. His words echoed in her mind. 17 civilizations destroyed. A world where empires go to die. It sounded like something from an old horror story. Not a government briefing. "That's impossible," she said. "There's no record of any alien contact on Earth before this century. We would know if 17 civilizations had come to our planet." Veth's skin shifted to a darker gray. "The oldest of these events occurred over 2 million years ago. The most recent was 300,000 years before your species existed in its current form. You would not remember because you were not there." Do-hyun stepped forward. "Counselor, are you saying these civilizations came to Earth before humans evolved?" "Yes. Then how can you blame us for what happened to them? We didn't even exist." Veth made a sound that might have been a bitter laugh. "Blame you? Young one, we are not trying to blame you. We are trying to understand how your species survived at all." Mara Sender. The door opened again. A tall alien entered, wearing a uniform covered in medals and symbols of rank. His body was built like a tank, with thick armor-like skin and 4 arms. His eyes were small and sharp. "I am Admiral Crix," he said, "commander of the Council Defense Fleet." Jisoo straightened her posture. A military commander was exactly what she didn't want to see right now. "Admiral, I hope you can clear up this confusion. Earth comes in peace. We are not a threat to anyone." Admiral Crix studied her the way a soldier studies an enemy position. "That remains to be determined, Ambassador. Please sit. We have much to discuss." They all sat around the metal table. Veth placed a small device in the center, and a holographic display appeared above it. Stars and planets filled the air between them. "Let me explain what the Universal Archive contains," Veth said. "It is not simply a map. It is a record of every major event in galactic history for the past 2 million years. It tells us which species rose to power, which ones fell, and why." He touched a control, and a single planet appeared in the display. Blue and green, with white clouds. Earth. "Your world appears in the archive 17 times, Veth continued. Each time, it is connected to the complete destruction of a spacefaring civilization." Admiral Crix leaned forward. "The first was a species called the Vorn Dominion. They ruled over 100 star systems. They sent a colonization fleet to Earth 2.1 million years ago. Within 50 years, their entire civilization collapsed. Their homeworld went dark. Their colonies fell silent. Nothing survived. When we Candidaean, Tentame supported, Jisoo felt cold. "What happened to them?" "We don't know," Veth said. "The archive only records that they went to Earth. And then they were gone." The display changed. Another species appeared, then another, then another. Each time, the same story. A powerful civilization, a journey to Earth, complete destruction. 17 times, Crix said. 17 species. Some were peaceful explorers. Some were military conquerors. Some were refugees looking for a new home. It didn't matter. They all died. Do-hyun was taking notes rapidly on his tablet. "Counselor, Admiral, this is very disturbing information, but I must point out that correlation is not causation. Just because these species went to Earth does not mean Earth caused their destruction." "We are aware of that argument," Crix said. "We considered it. Then we looked at the statistics. Do you know how many Category 5 death worlds exist in this galaxy? Ambassador?" End quote. Jisoo shook her head. 47. Category 5 is the highest danger rating we use. Worlds with extreme gravity, toxic atmosphere, deadly radiation. Very few species can survive on them. He paused. "Earth is not Category 5. Earth is Category 0. "What does that mean?" Jisoo asked. Veth's skin went pale again. "It means Earth is in a category by itself. It is the only world in the known galaxy that has been connected to the complete extinction of multiple spacefaring species. It is not just dangerous, Ambassador. It is unprecedented." Jisoo stood up. She needed to move. To think. This is insane. Earth is our home. Yes. It has predators and natural disasters. Yes. Life there can be difficult, but it's not some kind of death trap for advanced civilizations. We live there. Billions of us. Yes, Crix said quietly. You do. And that is what terrifies the Council. He stood up and walked to the display. With one of his 4 hands, he expanded the image of Earth. The 17 civilizations that died were not weak. Some of them were far more advanced than the current Council species. They had technology we still don't understand. They had conquered dozens of worlds, and they all failed against Earth. But you, humans, you didn't just survive there. You evolved there. You became the dominant species on a world that destroys everything else. Jisoo finally understood. You think we're dangerous. We think Earth made you dangerous, Veth said. We think that whatever kills civilizations on your world didn't kill you. It shaped you. And now you have built starships and come to the rest of the galaxy. The room fell silent. Jisoo looked at Do-hyun. His face was pale. But his mind was clearly working fast. We need to contact Earth, Jisoo said. Our scientists need to see this data. Maybe they can find explanations you haven't considered. That is being arranged, Veth said. We have opened a secure channel to your planet. Your military liaison is already being briefed. As if on cue, a screen on the wall lit up. A woman's face appeared. She was in her 30s, with short black hair and the serious expression of someone who had just received very bad news. Ambassador Park, the woman said. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Yoon Minji, Earth Defense Force. I've just been told some very interesting things about our planet. Colonel Yoon, Jisoo said. I assume you understand the situation. I understand that every alien in 100 light-years thinks Earth is cursed, Minji said dryly. I've already contacted our science teams. Dr. Choi Yoonji at the Aerospace Institute is pulling together geological and archaeological records. If alien civilizations came to Earth millions of years ago, there might be evidence. Admiral Crick stepped into view of the screen. Colonel Yoon, I must warn you. The Council is divided on how to handle this situation. Some members believe Earth should be quarantined. Others believe. He stopped. Others believe what? Minji asked. Crick's jaw tightened. Others believe the threat should be eliminated before it can spread. Minji's expression didn't change, but her voice became very cold. Let me be clear, Admiral. Earth has done nothing wrong. We have threatened no one. If anyone tries to harm our planet or our people, they will learn exactly how dangerous humans can be. And they will learn it very quickly. Do. The screen went dark. Veth looked at Jisoo. Your Colonel Yoon is not very diplomatic. She's a soldier, Jisoo said. She speaks directly. It's actually one of her better qualities. Crix made a sound that might have been respect. She has courage. But courage will not protect your world if the Council votes against you. Then help us, Jisoo said. Help us find the truth. What really happened to those 17 civilizations? If we can answer that question, maybe we can prove that humanity isn't a threat. Veth and Crix exchanged a look. Something passed between them that Jisoo couldn't read. There may be a way, Veth said slowly. The archive contains more than I have shown you. Classified records that even most council members cannot access. I have been afraid to look at them, afraid of what they might contain. But you are right. We need the truth. He stood up. Come with me, Ambassador. It is time to find out what else the universe knows about Earth. The secure briefing room was larger than the cell they had been kept in before, but it still felt small with so many beings crowded inside. Counselor Veth stood at the main display. Admiral Crix sat with his forearms crossed. Park Jisoo and Kim Do-hyun were at the table. With Colonel Yoon Minji joining through the wall screen from Earth, a new face appeared on another screen. Dr. Choi Eunji was a small woman, with glasses and messy hair. She looked like she hadn't slept in days, which was probably true. Behind her, Jisoo could see researchers running back and forth with tablets and documents. Ambassador Park, Dr. Choi said. I've found something. Several somethings, actually. The Council's data about alien contact with Earth appears to be accurate. Admiral Crix leaned forward. Explain. Dr. Choi adjusted her glasses. I've been examining Earth's geological record. That means studying layers of rock and soil to learn about the past. We already knew about several mass extinction events in Earth's history. Big disasters that killed most life on the planet. We thought they were caused by asteroids, volcanoes, or climate change. She pressed a button, and images appeared on the display. charts and graphs and pictures of rock samples. But when I looked closer, I found anomalies. Strange things that don't fit natural explanations. In the rock layers from 2.1 million years ago, there are unusual radiation signatures, not from any natural source. In layers from 1.4 million years ago, there are microscopic metal fragments that shouldn't exist. And in several locations around the world, deep underground, there are structures. Structures? Veth asked. Artificial formations, not natural rock. Something built them, and then millions of years of geological activity buried them. We always assumed they were errors in our instruments. But now, with this new information from the Council, I believe they are the remains of alien installations. The room was quiet. Jisoo felt the weight of what Dr. Choi was saying. Aliens really had come to Earth. Multiple times. And something had destroyed them so completely that only microscopic fragments remained. Do you have any theory about what killed them? Admiral Crix asked. Dr. Choi nodded slowly. I think I do. But you're not going to like it. She changed the display. Now it showed charts of Earth's environmental conditions. Temperature, gravity, atmospheric content, radiation levels, and dozens of other measurements. I compared Earth's environment to the standard conditions for life-bearing planets in the Council database, she said. Every measurement falls within survivable range. But here's what's interesting. Every single measurement falls at the extreme edge of survivable range. Do-hyun leaned forward. I mean, Earth is technically livable, but only barely. Our gravity is at the high end of what most species can handle. Our atmosphere has high oxygen, which is actually toxic to many life forms. Our sun produces more radiation than average. Our planet has more tectonic activity than 95% of inhabited worlds. We have more active volcanoes, more earthquakes, more extreme weather. Mardivri clouds of light-ivri. She took a breath. And then there's the biology. Earth has more species of bacteria than any other known planet. More viruses, more parasites, more predators. Life on Earth is incredibly diverse, and almost all of it is either competing with other life or trying to eat it. Admiral Crix was staring at the data with something like horror. How does anything survive there? That's exactly the point, Dr. Choi said. Most things don't survive. Earth has had 5 major extinction events that we know of, not counting the alien contacts. Life on Earth is constantly being destroyed and rebuilt. Only the strongest, most adaptable organisms survive. She looked directly at Jisoo. Humans are the product of that process. We evolved in one of the harshest environments in the galaxy. Every part of our biology is designed to survive conditions that would kill most other species. We can eat foods that would poison other beings. We can heal from injuries that would be fatal to them. We can survive temperature ranges, pressure changes, and radiation exposures that would destroy their bodies. Colonel Minji spoke from her screen. Are you saying Earth itself is the weapon? The planet killed those civilizations? Not on purpose, Doctor, Choi said. Earth isn't sentient. It's not hunting anyone. But it is incredibly, brutally, efficient at killing things that aren't perfectly adapted to it. Those alien civilizations came from gentler worlds. Their bodies weren't built for Earth's gravity, Earth's radiation, Earth's bacteria. They could visit for a while. Maybe. But living there? Trying to colonize? Earth would have destroyed them. It would have killed them in 100 different ways at once. Veth's skin had gone very pale. And humans survived this. Humans thrived in this, Dr. Choi said. We didn't conquer Earth. We were forged by it. Millions of years of brutal natural selection made us into what we are. Fast, strong, adaptable, resilient, able to survive almost anything. The room fell silent again. Jisoo understood what no one was saying. The Council wasn't just afraid of Earth. They were afraid of humanity. a species designed by the most hostile environment in the galaxy. What would such a species do when it reached the stars? The door to the briefing room opened. A tall figure entered, surrounded by guards. She was humanoid, but not human, with silver skin and eyes that seemed to contain entire galaxies. She wore robes of deep blue with symbols of authority. Everyone in the room stood. Even Admiral Crix bowed his head. "High Arbiter Solen," Veth said. "We were not expecting you." "I have been monitoring this briefing," Solen said. Her voice was calm and musical, but it carried absolute authority. "Half of them want to quarantine Earth immediately. The other half are calling for military action. I need to address the full assembly, and I need facts." She turned to Jisoo. "Ambassador Park, your scientists suggest that humans are not conquerors but survivors, that your species is not aggressive by nature but has been shaped by an aggressive environment. Is this the position of your government?" Jisoo chose her words carefully. "High Arbiter, I can tell you what I know from human history. Yes, we have had wars. Yes, we have violence in our past, but we also have art and music and medicine. We have spent the last century trying to unite our planet and end our conflicts. We built starships not to conquer, but to explore. When we discovered we were not alone in the universe, our first instinct was to say hello." Solen studied her. "And yet your Colonel Yoon threatened Admiral Crix when he suggested Earth might be seen as a danger. On. Might makes on. On. Minji's voice came from the screen. "I said we would defend ourselves if attacked, High Arbiter. That is not aggression. That is survival. It is what Earth taught us." Solen almost smiled. "Almost. A fair point, Colonel." She turned back to the room. "I will address the Council. I will present this information and argue for calm, measured response. But I warn you, Ambassador, not everyone will be convinced. Some will see your survival instincts as proof that you are dangerous. Some will want to destroy you before you can become a threat. What can we do?" Jisoo asked. "You can help me find more answers," Solen said. "Dr. Choi's theory explains how Earth killed those civilizations. But it does not explain everything in the archive. Counselor Veth, you mentioned classified records. Records about humanity specifically." Veth's skin flickered. "Yes, High Arbiter. There is one more file. I have been hesitant to access it." "Hesitation is a luxury we no longer have," Solen said. "Whatever that file contains, we need to know. All of us." She looked at Jisoo. "Are you prepared, Ambassador? The truth about your species may not be comfortable to hear." Jisoo lifted her chin. "We survived Earth, High Arbiter. We can survive the truth." Solen nodded. "Then, let us go to the archive. It is time to learn what else the universe knows about the children of the Death World." The deepest level of Station Prime was cold and quiet. Jisoo felt like she was walking into a tomb. The corridors were narrow and made of dark metal. The lights were dim. Their footsteps echoed. Counselor Veth led the way. Behind him came Jisoo and Do-hyun. Admiral Crix walked at the back, his 4 hands resting near his weapons. Colonel Minji watched through a camera on Do-hyun's tablet, her face serious and alert. They stopped at a massive door. It was covered in symbols that glowed faintly blue. "Beyond this door is the heart of the Universal Archive," Veth said. "Very few beings have ever entered. The records here are not just old. They are sacred. The species that created this archive wanted to preserve knowledge forever. They built something to protect it." "Built what?" Jisoo asked. Veth touched the door. It began to open. "You will see." The room inside was vast. The ceiling disappeared into darkness far above. The walls were lined with columns of light that pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. In the center of the room stood a pedestal, and above the pedestal floated a sphere of pure white light. As they entered, the sphere began to change. The light shifted and shaped itself, until it looked almost like a face. Not human, Not any species Jisoo recognized. Something older. I am the keeper, the light said. Its voice came from everywhere at once. I guard the knowledge of those who came before. Why have you disturbed my rest? Veth stepped forward and bowed. Keeper, we need information. Information about the world called Earth, and the species called humanity. Unres, the keeper's light flickered. Earth. Yes. The grave of empires. Why do you seek this knowledge? Because the humans are here, Veth said. They have built starships. They wish to join the Galactic Council. We need to know if they are a threat. The keeper was silent for a long moment. Then, its light shifted toward Jisoo. You are human, it said. Yes, Jisoo answered. You have come far from your world of death. Do you know your own history, human? Do you know what you are? Well, Amanusten says he have to be Christian 16. Well, he have to be the 2020 40 2021. Well, he have to be a stenses name that on a vendor. Well, he have to be a stenses nakewill. Well, he have to be a stenses nakewill. Well, he have to be a stenses. Jisoo felt a chill. I know what we were told. That 17 civilizations died on our planet. 17 came to conquer or colonize, the keeper said. All 17 were destroyed. But there was an 18th. They were different. The light in the room changed. Suddenly the air was filled with images. A beautiful planet, with 2 suns. Cities of crystal and light. A species with long limbs and gentle faces, building art and music and machines. The Teshora, the keeper said. They were scientists and artists. They had no military. They did not believe in war. For 10,000 years, they lived in peace. The images changed. Dark ships appeared in the sky. Fire rained down on the crystal cities. A great war came to the galaxy. The keeper continued. A species of conquerors swept through system after system. The Tesh-Ora were not fighters. They could not defend themselves. So they ran. Jisoo watched the images of ships fleeing, of desperate families crowding into transports, of a beautiful world burning behind them. They searched for a place to hide. A world where the conquerors would not follow. They found Earth. The display showed Earth 300,000 years ago. It looked the same. Blue and green and deadly. They knew Earth was dangerous. They had studied the archive. They knew about the 17 civilizations that had died there. But they were desperate. They thought that if they were careful, if they respected the planet instead of trying to conquer it, they might survive. What happened to them? Do-hyun asked quietly. The keeper's light dimmed. Earth happened to them. The gravity hurt their bodies. The radiation damaged their cells. The bacteria infected them with diseases they had no immunity against. Within 3 generations, they were dying. Within 5 generations, they were almost gone. The images showed the Tesh-Ora weakening, sickening, their numbers falling. But before they died completely, the keeper said, they made a choice. The display changed again. Now it showed the Tesh-Ora meeting with other creatures. Primitive beings with dark skin and simple tools. Early humans. The Tesh-Ora found your ancestors. They saw a species that had survived Earth, that had adapted to its cruelty. They saw potential. And they decided to give your ancestors a gift. Jisoo felt her heart beating faster. What gift? Knowledge. Genetic modification. Not enough to make you artificial, just enough to help you along. They gave your ancestors the capacity for faster learning, better problem solving, more creativity. They took a species that was already strong and made it smarter. The keeper's light grew brighter. They knew they were going to die. They knew their civilization would end on Earth, just like all the others. But they hoped that you would carry their legacy forward. That one day, you would leave the grave world and reach for the stars. That some part of them would survive through you. The room was completely silent. Jisoo felt tears on her face but didn't wipe them away. "We are not just survivors," she whispered. "We are inheritors." "Yes," the keeper said. "The Tesh-Ora gave you their final gift, and then they died. The last of them walked into the wilderness and never returned. Your ancestors remembered them as gods or spirits. You built myths around them. But the truth is simpler and sadder. They were refugees who found kindness at the end, and they passed it on to you." Admiral Crix spoke for the first time since entering the room. "This changes things. The humans are not just survivors of a death world. They carry the legacy of a peaceful species." "It changes nothing," said a new voice. Everyone turned. A holographic figure had appeared near the entrance. It was a tall alien in military armor, with cold eyes and a cruel face. "Commander Voreth," Admiral Crix said, "you were not invited to this briefing." "I don't need an invitation," Voreth said. "I represent the Dominion faction of the Council. We have been monitoring this session, and we have made a decision." Jisoo stepped forward. "What decision?" Voreth smiled. It was not a kind smile. "The decision that Earth is too dangerous to be allowed to exist. Whatever gifts the Tesh-Ora gave to humanity, whatever potential you might have, it doesn't matter. You come from a world that destroys civilizations. You have been shaped by violence and death. We will not allow that to spread through the galaxy." "You're talking about destroying an entire planet," Veth said, his skin going dark with anger. "Billions of innocent beings." "I'm talking about protecting the galaxy from a threat," Voreth said. "The Dominion fleet is already on its way to Station Prime. We will take the Earth delegation into custody. We will obtain the coordinates to Earth, and we will cleanse that world before it can produce anything else." The hologram disappeared. Colonel Minji's voice came from the tablet, cold as ice. "Ambassador Park, get out of there. Now." Alarms began to ring throughout Station Prime. The Keeper's light flickered. "The war has come again," it said quietly. "Just as it came for the Tesh-Ora. The question now is whether their gift to you was enough. Whether the children of Earth can survive one more attack." End quote. 8EMSM. Dalt. 8EM. End quote. 8EMSMSMSMSM. Quote. Jisoo looked at Dohyun, at Veth, at Crix. Then she set her jaw and started walking toward the door. "We survived everything Earth threw at us," she said. "We can survive this." Station Prime was in chaos. Alarms screamed through the corridors. Aliens of every species ran for shelter or emergency stations. Through the windows, Jisoo could see ships moving into defensive formations. Admiral Crix was on his communicator, shouting orders. "All defense units to battle stations. I want shields at maximum. Nobody fires unless I give the command." Counselor Veth led Jisoo and Dohyun through the panicking crowds toward the command center. The Dominion faction has wanted a war for decades. They see this as their excuse. "Final or liver?" 1-4. 1-4. "How many ships?" Jisoo asked. "At least 50. Maybe more. Our defense fleet is strong, but the Dominion has been preparing for this." They reached the command center. It was a huge room filled with screens and control stations. High Arbiter Solen stood at the central platform, watching the displays with a calm expression that Jisoo envied. "Ambassador Park," Solen said, "the Dominion fleet will arrive in less than 1 hour. Commander Voreth has broadcast his demands to the entire council. He wants your delegation handed over and Earth's coordinates provided for what he calls cleansing." "And what has the council decided?" Jisoo asked. Solen's expression tightened. "The council is still debating. Some support the Dominion. Others are against. Many are simply afraid." On Earth, Colonel Minji was already moving. Jisoo could see her on one of the screens, giving rapid orders. Behind her, General Han So-jun was coordinating Earth's defenses. "Ambassador," Minji said, "our fleet is small compared to what's coming. We can't win a straight fight in space. But General Han has a suggestion. The general stepped into view. He was an older man with gray hair and the steady eyes of someone who had seen many battles. Ambassador Park. Throughout human history, when we faced larger enemies, we used our environment against them. Mountains, rivers, weather. We made the land itself our weapon. You want to use Earth, Jisoo said, understanding immediately. If they want to attack our planet, let them come down to it. Let them see what killed 17 civilizations before them. Admiral Crix shook his head. That strategy might work eventually, but the Dominion could glass your planet from orbit before a single soldier lands. They don't need to invade. They just need to destroy. Then we need to stop them before they get that chance, Jisoo said. She turned to Do-hyun. The data we received from the archive. All of it. Can you transmit it to the Dominion fleet? Do-hyun's eyes widened. You want to send them the records of the 17 civilizations? I want to show them what they're attacking. Every species in that fleet grew up with stories about death worlds. They know the legends. Let them see the proof. Solen nodded slowly. Psychological warfare. Make them afraid of what they're facing. It's not just about fear, Jisoo said. It's about the truth. The soldiers in that fleet, the crews on those ships, they're not all fanatics like Vorith. Some of them are just following orders. If they see what they're really up against, maybe some of them will refuse. Crix considered this. It might work. The Dominion military is powerful, but it's not absolutely loyal. Many species serve under them because they have no choice. Do it, Solen ordered. Transmit everything. The archive records, Dr. Choi's research, all of it. Send it to every ship in that fleet. Do-hyun got to work. His fingers flew across his tablet, compiling data, preparing the transmission. Within minutes, it was ready. Broadcast going out now, he said. They waited. The Dominion fleet appeared on the long-range sensors. 53 ships, battlecruisers, destroyers, carriers. Enough firepower to burn a continent. Then Jisoo did something that surprised everyone, including herself. She opened a direct channel to Commander Vorith's flagship. Commander, she said. This is Ambassador Park Jisoo of Earth. I know you've received our transmission. I know you've seen the data. I'm asking you to reconsider. Vorith's face appeared on screen. He was smiling, but it was the smile of someone who had already won. Reconsider? Why would I do that, human? Your data only proves what I already knew. Your world is a monster factory. The galaxy will be safer without it. 17 civilizations came to Earth, Jisoo said. They came with advanced technology, powerful weapons, vast armies. They all failed. They all died. Do you really believe your fleet will do any better? Those civilizations didn't know what they were facing. I do. I'm not going to land troops on your planet, Ambassador. I'm going to turn it to glass from orbit. And if your crews refuse, they've seen the archive now. They know what Earth does to invaders. For the first time, Vorith's smile flickered. My crews follow orders. Do they? Jisoo leaned forward. Ask them, Commander. She was guessing. But she was right. On the sensors, the Dominion formation was changing. 3 ships had slowed down. Then 5. Then 8. Signals were coming in. Ships requesting to withdraw. Crews refusing to advance. Vorith's face twisted with anger. Cowards. Traitors. They're not traitors, Jisoo said. They're smart. They know what happens to people who attack Earth. They don't want to be civilization number 18. Then I'll do it myself. Vorith cut the communication. His flagship accelerated ahead of the fleet. Alone, Admiral Crix was giving orders immediately. All ships, intercept that vessel. Do not let it reach firing range. The Council Defense Fleet moved to engage, but the flagship was fast, Too fast. It would reach Earth before they could stop it. General Han, Jisoo said urgently. He's coming. On the screen. Han Seo-hun nodded. We see him, Ambassador. We're ready. Earth's fleet was tiny. 12 ships against a Dominion battlecruiser. It should have been hopeless. But humans had been fighting hopeless battles since they first picked up stones and sticks on the African plains. The Earth ships didn't try to match the flagship's firepower. They didn't line up for a straight fight. Instead, they scattered and regrouped, attacked from unexpected angles, hit and ran, and hit again. They used asteroids for cover. They exploited every weakness in the flagship's design. They fought like humans. Dirty. Clever. Relentless. Voreth's flagship took damage. Then more damage. Systems failed. Weapons went offline. Finally, the great ship hung dead in space. Powerless. Colonel Minji's voice came over the channel, cold and hard. There was a long silence. Then Voreth's voice, bitter and broken. I surrender. Back on Station Prime, the remaining Dominion ships were withdrawing. Without Voreth, without his flagship, the attack had collapsed. High Arbiter Solen addressed the council that same day. Jisoo stood beside her, exhausted, but standing straight. Today, we nearly made a terrible mistake, Solen said. We nearly destroyed a world out of fear. We nearly became the 19th civilization to attack Earth. I believe we would have suffered the same fate as the others. She turned to look at Jisoo. But we learned something today. The humans are not our enemies. They were forged in the harshest world in the galaxy. They could have become monsters. Instead, they became survivors. And when they reached for the stars, they reached with an open hand. She raised her voice. I propose a new designation for humanity. Not enemies. Not threats. Custodians of the grave. Guardians of the most dangerous world in the galaxy. And allies of the Galactic Council. The vote was not unanimous. Some species still feared Earth. Some still wanted it destroyed. But enough voted yes. Enough chose hope over fear. After the ceremony, after the flags were raised and the documents were signed, Counselor Veth found Jisoo standing at a window, looking out at the stars. I was terrified when I first saw Earth's name in the archive, he admitted. I thought your species must be monsters, creatures of death and destruction. And now? Jisoo asked. Veth's skin shifted to a warm orange color. Fortunate that the thing which crawled out of that grave decided to reach for the stars with an open hand instead of a closed fist. Jisoo smiled. It was the first time she had smiled since this all began. We have a saying on Earth, she said. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I think Earth did more than make us strong. I think it taught us something. When you suffer, when you struggle, when you survive terrible things, you have a choice. You can become cruel, or you can become kind. You can take your pain out on others, or you can use it to understand them. She looked at Veth. We chose kindness. Maybe that's the real gift we inherited from the Tesh Ora. Not just intelligence. Compassion. Veth nodded slowly. Then perhaps that is the legacy you will carry to the stars. Not the legacy of a death world. The legacy of a species that learned to be gentle, despite everything. Jisoo looked back out at the stars. Somewhere out there was Earth. Her world. The grave of empires. Home. Let's hope so, she said quietly. Let's hope so.